Good morning, RTHD world. How are you all out there? Welcome to Wednesday, Hump Day, May 27th, 2020. I am Coach Bear, Coach Glenn the Bear, bringing RTHD, Road to Happy Destiny, Season 3, Episode 18, to you live from Casa 15 Hundo in Metairie, Louisiana. Who dat, baby? How's everybody doing out there today? I hope your midweek day is off to a good start. It's Wednesday and I'm excited to get the show going. I hope you're excited as well. Let's jump into today's episode with the Serenity Prayer. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. All right. Now that we've got the Serenity Prayer taken care of, let's jump into our thoughts for today from my cousin Jeb in Lafayette, Louisiana. Hope everything's going well out there in that part of our great state of Louisiana. So here we go. A couple of thoughts for you today. Thought number one. And both these thoughts today are about worry and worrying. And we're going to incorporate that into action as well. So thought number one. Worrying is carrying tomorrow's load with today's strength. It doesn't empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. And I like that, especially where I am in my journey on my road to happy destiny. I tend to worry a lot. I really do. And right now, a lot of us have time for worry during the pandemic that we are in. And I like what it talked about in that first thought about kind of taking away our strength for today by pouring it into the worry of tomorrow, that which we do not know what will happen. Unfortunately this morning, I just, right before the show, I just started scrolling through Facebook, and a friend of mine was dating someone, and he passed away suddenly last night or this morning. And it made me stop and reflect, first of all, how sorry I was to hear that. And I sent a text to express my sorrow for that. I saw this guy in pictures on Facebook just the other day, things going great. And my point in that is we just have today, right? We just have today. So when I read that first thought, having just saw that on Facebook, it made me really think about why do I put all this stress in worrying about tomorrow? I want to read it again, okay? So worrying is carrying tomorrow's load with today's strength. It doesn't empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength, okay? So really think about that, and I'm going to encourage everyone to really, really, truly appreciate what you have just for today, and I've been practicing that for all of these 58 straight episodes of RTHD and for a few weeks before that. And, I say it all the time. I know it's such a cliche, but focusing on winning the day and one day at a time. All right, our second thought for this morning is as follows. What worries you masters you. And I am guilty of this. I have shared over the past few days about working on my communication skills, right? And one of the things that I have done in the past is do exactly what these first two thoughts are kind of letting us know about. And that is, I worry a lot. I worry about tomorrow, I worry about next week, I worry about next month. And it has consumed me or mastered me in the past. And so, that's why I've really been focusing in this show, on all these episodes, about, learning from the past, living in the moment, in the day, and let's not worry about tomorrow, but let's take tomorrow as it comes. Because really all we have is right now, this moment, right? All we have is today. And we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So, I had already written these thoughts for the day when I went through Facebook and saw that. Also along those lines, over the past few days, I've had some friends who have lost friends from different things, and and these were young people, 25 and 30 years old, and in the world that I am a part of, unfortunately, I hear these stories from time to time about people passing away early due to whatever, and it makes me appreciate what I have and what I'm working for, and how I want to get stronger each and every day, so I can take things one day at a time and be here, for hopefully much, much longer. Okay, not trying to put a down spin on the show, but I gotta talk about things that are in my life at this time, and so those come to mind. All right, let's jump into our 24 hours a day book. Today's reflection, today's meditation. Reflection for today. Day by day, we try to move a little toward perfection, right? I discuss all the time with you all out there in RTHD Nation that, really, really and truly, all right, day by day, we're working towards the best version of ourselves, or at least I am working towards being the best version of myself. So that is working towards perfection. Am I ever going to even come remotely close to perfection? No, I am not. But I can still work towards it, right? You as a coach, you hear this saying all the time. Perfect practice, makes perfect. It's just, perfect is just so difficult, It's just so difficult. But we can always, or I can always strive for perfection. Basically, let's break it down, right? I need to break it down into something simpler for me, okay? And that is do the best I can do at certain times throughout the course of a day. Putting forth an effort. What can I control, right? I can control my attitude. I can control my effort. I can choose certain things that will allow me to put forth, okay, my best towards things. So, day by day, we can all work towards perfection. I know that's what I'm living by as well. Our meditation for today: the higher the upward growth, or growth upward, the deeper the roots, or the rooting, must be. Right? So for me right now, what is this road to happy destiny for me? Well, it's planting seeds and growing roots. Okay, planting seeds and growing roots. And those roots need to come stronger and stronger as things come out of the soil, if you will, and start to blossom. And that's how I'm looking at it. If that helps you, that's great. I want it to help. I want it to help others. But, again, I still hear people say, little comments here and there. Why is this dude doing this show, man? 58 straight days. Oh, and he mentions that all the time, by the way. Yeah, I'm proud of it. I really am. Because what I am doing right now is a few weeks before I began the show, I started planting the seed. And then I put the seeds in soil. And now this thing is starting to blossom. If for no other reason, for me to help myself on the road to happy destiny each and every single day. I'm trying to live RTHD. So, our thoughts about worry, our reflection about striving for perfection, and our meditation here where we are, or I am, planting and trying to grow and blossom, right? So I like all those things for today. Before I go into the middle portion of the show, into action and advice for me, something I heard this morning in a reading that I really like. A lot of these 12-step programs out there, and they're called 12-step programs because there are 12 steps or guidelines to help you in that particular program, whatever the program may be. Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Sex Addictions Anonymous, whatever. And there's a lot of 12-step programs out there because there's a lot of people that have a lot of pain and have a lot of addictions to different things. You know, the ones that get the most publicity, if you want to call it that, are alcoholism and drug addiction. But, you know, there's a lot out there. Anyway, point being is this. In these 12-step programs, for example, let's take Alcoholics Anonymous. In those 12 steps, you're never going to see the word don't. You're not going to see don't. It gives you all the things in there that you are to do, right? Because it is a program of action. It's a program of taking action, of putting things into action. A lot of times when we hear the word don't, and I'll speak for me, that immediately goes off in my strange brain. Wow, they're telling me don't, so I better. You know, don't do that, so I better do that. And that's, again, how some people function, how some people work. You know, my mind immediately goes to a thought like that. So the fact of these 12 steps, for example, in this particular program, don't say don't. I mean, there's don't nowhere in there. And I really never even noticed that until today. And it talks about the things that you are encouraged to do and things that you should do and follow, and that will lead you to a pathway to peace. And so I want to think a little bit today about don't versus do. You know, I heard this example in a meeting this morning. You know, you tell some kids that are going outside and you say, hey, don't slam the door. And all of a sudden you hear the door slam. And you're like, did I not just say don't slam the door? Somebody said, well, rather you may say, hey, please close the door quietly when y'all leave. Right? It's a little bit different than don't slam the door, close the door quietly. And again, you can call that being politically correct. You can call it whatever you want. But sometimes our language can lead to different results. Right? So I found that interesting this morning, and I wanted to share that with you all. And I'm even going to incorporate that a little bit into action for today. So with that being said, are you ready? Are you ready to roll? Are you ready to take a ride? We riding? Well, I'm with ya, homie. You heard me? Grab your handy dandy into action notebook. Grab your utensil used for writing purposes. Let's open up to a brand spanking new page and let's dive into action. All right, let's get this going right now. Please get set up for your 3 categories today, your 3 columns, if you will. And they are as follows. Number 1, gratitude. What are you grateful for today? Number 2, worry. How do you handle worry? You know, what do you do to handle worry? In other words, how can you alleviate worry? And in particular today, what can you do to not worry about tomorrow? And tomorrow can mean immediately tomorrow or down the road. Okay? What can you do to kind of get out of worry and back into today and so you can be at ease going into tomorrow, which, by the way, we are not guaranteed. All right? And column 3 is going to be do versus don't, or don't versus do. Meaning, how can you use that language and rephrase don't do this into do that instead? It kind of almost is changing a negative, if you will, into a positive. And I don't know if that's 100% accurate or correct, but, you know, it's just language. And so what kind of language can you use today? Like we've been talking about the last couple of days, you know, have to versus get to, trying to versus going to, or commitment, reasons I don't versus results, okay? And then let's do a don't versus do in our 3rd column today, however that rings true for you, in whatever a little explanation I gave, however you can utilize that for your into action today. All right, should be set up by now, so let's jot down our thoughts and ideas. I'm going to go ahead and share mine with you while you write. For gratitude, what am I grateful for today? Well, bottom line is I am grateful for my life today. I'm grateful for those that surround me, their lives today. It just reminded me this morning, this person that I spoke of that passed away, either, again, I'm not sure whether it was last night or this morning, suddenly, I believe is a couple years younger than me, in good health, good shape, and it reminded me of what I have been talking about here on this show, living one day at a time, and really just being appreciative for today, because we're not sure if we have tomorrow. So I am appreciative for my life, the lives of all my loved ones, family, friends, and acquaintances. And so, I'm grateful for that. And sometimes you have to be I have to be just grateful for that, which I really and truly am. Okay? Middle column, worry. All right. So what I am trying to do and have been trying to do over these past few months is I've been trying to do a better job of not putting things off that I can do today to tomorrow or a couple of days from now or next week or whatever the case may be. I have had a tendency to do that in the past. We'll get to that, or I'll get to that, okay? And that leads me to more worry, right? And a lot of times, I build things up into being bigger deals than they actually are, because instead of just taking care of them, I start worrying about it, right? And that worry leads me to anxiety, okay? And that anxiety is uncomfortable. And so, I put a lot of strength that I could use for today into worrying about tomorrow. So what can I do to take worry off of my plate about tomorrow and down the road? Well, I can continue to try and do things daily, right? And not put things off. There's something that I've had to do this week, just mail a letter. That's it. And I could have done it yesterday, today, tomorrow, or Friday, and I didn't do it yesterday. Well, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it anymore because I'm going to do that today. So that's something simple that I can take that little worry off of my plate. And it's not even that big of a deal. Okay? So how can you handle the worry situation today? All right? And then in our final category or our final column, don't versus do. I'm going to take, again, something simple that I can control because I think it'll be a good example. But I do have to do this, okay? I walk a couple of times a day, each and every day, and it is, as you may have noticed, starting to get a lot warmer out. And the times I walk, 9 a.m., and the second walk's either at 12 or 1 or 2 or 3, but a hotter portion of the day, and a lot of people might remind me, hey, don't get overheated out there, right? Don't. They say, don't get overheated out there. Well, what can I do? Well, I can properly hydrate throughout the course of a day. So instead of saying, don't get overheated, do hydrate, right? Something simple. And that is something that I've actually done a lot in the past, especially over this last year, as I've dropped a few more pounds here and there throughout the course of this last year. And, I have been more aware of my hydration, and that is something I can do, to avoid the don't get overheated, don't get dehydrated. Well, what can I do? Take care of myself, right? So that's my example for don't versus do today. So throughout the course of the day, instead of me thinking, hey, don't do this, don't do that, what can I do to avoid that, right? What can I do? What kind of action can I take? All right. So those are our categories for today. Hopefully you got something out of that. Don't forget, if you want to jot down a reflection of today's show, please go ahead and do that. And we're going to jump right now into advice for me. All right. And this is kind of interesting because I wrote down this piece of advice that I saw today on Facebook. And it's just what we just talked about. Don't versus do. The piece of advice was, because I knew our thoughts were about worry today. It says, and advice for me, don't worry about pleasing everyone. And I'm like, there we go with the don't. But, so I thought what I would do is I'll take a little spin on that and twist it a little bit based on what we just discussed here on RTHD. All right? Instead of don't worry about pleasing everyone, which is not possible, by the way. It's not possible to please everyone. I rephrased it to this. It's a tall task to please everyone. Focus on those you can please, especially by working from within. I just added that just now. Okay? If I can please myself, then I'm more apt to be able to try and please others. Okay? And those that I know I can never please, drop my focus from them and work on those that I can please. Right? So that's advice for me today. We're running a little short on time. Sorry to have to wrap this up quickly. I did want to expand on that on that advice for me just a little bit, but we'll get to it at some point on RTHD. We never run out of things to discuss here. So, final thought for you for today. Life is 10% what you experience and 90% how you respond to it. Really like that final thought a lot. I'm going to let you all ponder that, so I'll read it again. Life is 10% what you experience and 90% how you respond to it. All right? Think about that. Interesting. Yep. Think. Well, yeah. All right, hey, go out there, be joyful in hope. Be patient in affliction. Faithful in prayer. Go out and be joyous, be happy, be free. Be in gratitude and into action. Have a great Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Yeah, you right. All right. Peace. Love you.